Hello and welcome to HealthyHouseplants.com, where I teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. Today's video is sponsored by our Amazon affiliate link, which you can see in the description below. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you a secret for keeping your plants moist so that you don't have to water them as often. So this will cut down on watering of your houseplants, usually by about 50%. And that is mulching your houseplants. So right here, what I have is, this is shredded bark. It's actually shredded redwood. It's my favorite for mulching houseplants and actually other plants, outdoor plants as well, and trees and shrubs and all kinds of things. This is gorilla hair. It is a specific brand, but I'm sure there are other ones as well that are shredded like this. And the nice thing about the shredded barks is that you can make a really nice layer where it interlocks and you get a really good effects from that. Now, I'm going to mulch this plant here, but before I do that, tell you a little bit more about the benefits of mulching houseplants. So as I mentioned, you cut down on watering about 50%, which is obviously really great, right? So another thing is, though, what you do is you create a self-sustaining environment in the soil. So a lot of the good bacteria that you will find in houseplant soil is in the first, basically 3, 4 to 6 or 7, 8 inches, okay? So that's where a lot of good biological activity goes on, and that makes the soil a healthy organic soil for you. And then what happens with the healthy organic soil is that soil then makes the self-sustaining environment where the plants stay healthy. With a really good self-sustaining environment, good biological activity in the soil, you don't have to fertilize as much as if you were growing just with your soil like this and then using chemical fertilizers. So this is a really good way, a good addition to any organic growing regime for your houseplants. And the mulch, as I mentioned, creates a protective barrier on top of the soil that not only keeps in moisture, but it also keeps in the good bacteria, and then everything keeps growing great. So what you want to do is, before to mulch your plants, is you would want to water this really well. And then after you do that, then you're going to do the mulching. Now, the reason why you water this really well is that you want to seal in the benefits. So I watered this prior, and then what you do next is you put about a ½ inch to an inch of the mulch on top of the plant. You can see how that's happening here. And you want to pat it down as you go. Now, the depth, or how much you put on, is going to depend on if you have a big plant with a big pot, you're going to want closer to an inch. But since this is a smaller plant, and by the way, this plant keeps drying out, so I'm really happy that I'm going to be doing this right now, so this plant's going to dry out a lot less because it's been sucking up the water lately. So I'm putting about probably between a quarter of an inch and an inch on top here. And then what you want to do is, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to be watering this with some water. So I'm making this cover, and you want to cover it pretty good. So you want to seal things in. Now keep in mind, since this is bark, it is going to breathe some. So you do want the top of the soil to breathe, but at the same time you want it in there pretty good so that it will will seal in the moisture. Okay, so now that this is done, what I would do next is water it. And as I water it, it's going to seal in the mulch on top and below and keep the plant nice and moist. If you do feel like maybe it's not getting enough air circulation, you can always make little holes in it like this to let in a little bit of air as, you know, maybe over the time coming up. But for the most part, like I said, it will keep it moist. Now for bigger plants, the big tall trees and that sort of thing, you're going to want to leave about 1 inch around the base of the plant. For smaller things like this, especially water lovers like this croton, it's okay to have it up towards the base of the trunk, but for this, but for the bigger ones, go about 1 inch out so that you don't have too much. And if you feel like if you want to be on the safe side too, you can always do that with these plants too, just about 1/2 inch away from that. So basically that's to prevent too much moisture, which can potentially lead to root rot. So, and that's why you do want to make sure it is breathing. Some signs that it's not breathing is it really is staying really, really wet, or you could start to get some growth there. So just keep an eye on that and move it around some to give it some air circulation if that's the case. But otherwise, this is a really good way to give your plants, basically what plants out in nature get naturally when their leaves fall is mulch like this. So you're going to be doing this with the mulch, and because most people don't want the dead leaves around their houseplants because they are inside and it looks kind of messy. So this is and a nice thing too is it will cover up the top of, say you're growing in containers that you don't want to show, it will cover up the top of those rims, so it gives a nice clean look too to the whole plant here. As you can see, the whole look of the plant into because I have this in a pot that's inside of this other pot here. Okay, well, thank you for stopping by today. And please leave comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.